Hello again. Um, so today there's a couple of things I actually wanted to get to talk about something, a couple of specific things. Um, First, uh, I guess this kind of is the whole reason for the topic today. The topic today that I wanted to talk about, the thing that I've been thinking about is being sober versus being clean. If they're the same, if they're different, what they mean to different people. And the reason I want to talk about that is a couple reasons. First and foremost is because I fucked up. I am still sober from meth. Haven't used meth since June 10th. But I did last week. I took Adderall. And it's pretty close to meth. I think there's like a hydrocarbon chain on the end of the molecule that makes it past the blood-brain barrier faster than methamphetamine does. But other than that, I think it's pretty much identical. And that's kind of how I got started with meth to begin with, was through Adderall. So I slipped up last week and I had access to it and I took it. And I'm glad that I did, and I'm not glad that I did. I'm not glad that I did because I got very close to relapsing on meth. Very close. I'm glad that I did because, like I said in a couple videos ago, I've been having trouble remembering why I got sober. What's the point? I know I got sick. I know, it just seemed like the thing to do or whatever, but I didn't really feel it anymore. I remember now. I remember why I got sober now. Using the Adderall gave me a sober look at what being high was like. Because when you start using, it's kind of a gradual decline. When you get sober, it's kind of a gradual incline. And so it's like looking at yourself in the mirror. It's hard to tell a difference day by day, but the people around you can see, you look different now than you did when you were 10, obviously. So I had a couple of them, and the plan was, I'll take one now and one, whenever on, all that kind of stuff. And I took the first one, and then within 12 hours of taking the rest of them, just all self-control went out the window. And it just turns me into an animal. It just paranoid and just completely giving into my baser instincts. Just wandering around a Walmart for 3 hours, looking over my shoulder all the time. And I know Adderall doesn't do that to everyone, especially in the doses that you're supposed to take it in. But coming down from it, I was just like, what the fuck was that? What was I doing? Just so embarrassed about all the things that I did and things I said to people. And I know there's some people in my life that are watching this that are finding this out for the first time, and I guess it's just hard to come clean in some ways. Not necessarily that I think that I have to, but this is just an easy way to talk about it, I guess. So that got me thinking. Like I said, I still consider myself to be sober. So what's the difference between being sober and being clean? In my mind, being clean is a state that your body is in, and being sober is a state that your mind is in. So being clean, you can be clean without being sober. You can be sober without being clean. So being clean is, again, in my mind, just you can pass a drug test. You haven't drank, no mind-altering substances. Wherever you draw that line, is up to you, of course. That's another thing, is defining your own sobriety. I believe that that's important, is defining your own sobriety. Nobody can tell you what being sober means. So being sober is, like I said, a state that your mind is in. It's I want to say it's a resolve to make the right choices for your life, for your continued happiness and health. So for instance, I will go out on the weekends sometimes and have a beer with my friends. Alcohol has never been my thing. Um, I don't like it at all. I usually just get like a Sprite or something just because alcohol makes me sick and dizzy and I don't like it at all. Every now and again I'll have a beer. And I still consider myself to be sober. I smoke pot every now and again. I still consider myself to be sober. Maybe not clean, but sober. So like I said, you can be clean without being sober. Like, I'd say I've known people that have gone to prison or been on parole who have had to stop using because they didn't want to go back to prison. But we're not in a mindset of sobriety of like, okay, I'm taking charge of this. This is what I want my life to be like. And as soon as they got off parole, they went right back to using, and even sometimes worse than before. And so also you can be sober without being clean. Like I said, I would consider myself sober, but probably not clean. I probably wouldn't pass a drug test right now, but I would pass a drug test for opiates and methamphetamine, which are the two things that I've struggled with in my life and the two things that will kill me if I go back to. So some people might be thinking, it always kind of drove me nuts when I would go to inpatient or see a therapist afterwards or something like that, and I would tell them, I smoked last week or something like that, and they say, okay, so you're a week sober. No, I've been sober since June 10th. And people who try to impose their limits of sobriety on you, it drives me nuts. How can you know? How can you know what I'm going through? How can you know what I'm feeling? And it's important to be able to take charge of your own sobriety and to have those reasons. And I do now. And I have those reasons. And I remember why I'm sober. I can see now what it was like when I took a dip back into that pool. My therapist said it's like a booster shot. Like a vaccine where it's not the real thing that won't kill you, but it does kind of jumpstart your immune system. Like, oh shit, what was that? I remember that. Like, it gave me a very stark view at what it was like to be using, because I couldn't remember. I see the past with rose-colored glasses, especially when I was using, because you're just permanently wearing rose-colored glasses when you're using. You can't see anything else. So I've just been thinking about that, and I wanted to share my thoughts, I guess. And I've also been doing some writing, just like a bunch of short stories. I don't really know what genre they fit in. I guess they're kind of fiction. It's kind of dark. It kind of centers around addiction. I couldn't really think of like a whole arc for the story, so I just figured I'd cut them up into a bunch of separate short stories. So yeah, I guess if you guys are interested in reading any of that, let me know. Fairly certain my camera has been tilting sideways this whole time, so if I'm off kilter, you know what? Metaphor from my life. It'll be all right. Yeah. So anyway, guys, thanks as always for watching. Your comments and your tips and your love. It means so much to me. It really, really does. So yeah, just if you're out there and you're having trouble, keeping on. I know it's cliche, but it really is one day at a time. If you made it today, great. If you didn't make it today, try tomorrow. Let's do it together. If ever you guys are struggling, or I love all of the messages and the comments that I get of support and love, and but if you ever just need to talk, just if you're having a hard night or something like that, I really will do my best to get back to you and to have a conversation with you if you'd like. So, yeah, keep it up. Stay strong.